We are back in the black hole of real estate, and we have some big stuff going on for the 4th of July, and I hope that you do too. But in the real estate space, we've got something that could be really, really big. This is your host, Ron Wojciechowski, for the black hole of real estate, and big things coming up 4th of July. And it's not just the fireworks that we have, in our backyards and at the community centers and over the water. Those are going to take place, but there's big moves happening right now. By most people probably have seen the news that, and love it or hate it, and what do they call it? Big beautiful bill. It's real. It got approved on Thursday by the House as well as the Senate. So that's all done. The president's going to sign it on Friday the 4th of July, and then things will happen because uncertainty goes away. There's been all this debate and all this consternation about whether they should do it or not. Well, now it's going to happen, so we can worry less about that as far as whether we like it or not. And it's one less thing that's going to cause people to pause when it comes to buying or selling a property, because there's one less excuse out there. We're clearing the deck of these things. So now this is going into place. I have to believe there is going to be another round of pressure-filled activity, and I got to believe the first one is going to be on the Fed. As soon as this thing is signed, I think the next thing they're going to do is they're going to go after the Fed. There's some word that there was some transgression or something wrong with what Jerome Powell did, and I didn't read the whole thing. I'll be honest with you. I was tied up in other things, like work and life. And I can't keep up with every bit of news over here, but I got to believe there's tremendous pressure on the Fed to do a couple of things. Number one, will be a new Fed chief next year. That's for certain. They're already talking about new candidates. And so right now, Jerome Powell is in that lame duck mode. He's got, 6 or 8 months to go, whatever that is. And someone will probably be coming in a little bit earlier, to learn the ropes. But in the meantime, the pressure is going to be, we've passed all these bills, we've done all these things. Interest rates have been high. They were not sure about tariffs and bills, but now they have more clarity on it. I'm going to be completely shocked if you do not see the Fed drop the rate at least a quarter point in the month of July, possibly 0.5%. And you'll start to see the rates trend a little bit lower between now and then, and here's why. Banks are competitive. They are going to anticipate that rates will be lower this month. And when you lock in the rate on today's dollar and the loan closes like 30 days from now, they are moving the needle. They will do this. They're going to price in some of what they feel is the savings in the interest rate coming up to them, because the Fed rate's lower. They pay less for the money. They can loan it out at less money and still make the same or similar profit margins. I think they're going to start pricing some of it in right now to win more favor with the borrowers and get them to lock in rates between now and the actual Fed rate change, so that what they might do is give you tomorrow's price today or something close to that. And if the banks can gain some market share over the next few weeks, I think they'll do it. They'll make a profit a little bit less, but they will make a profit. But they can also take some market share, because among the movers and shakers, let's say among real estate agents and people that do the financial advising, if they see a particular lender that's being aggressive on rates right now, they become top of mind for the next 30 or 60 days for those people that win for them this month might also win them more favor next month. So I do believe that you're going to see pressure on the Fed. Rates are going to drop this month, and you're going to see at least one lender be super aggressive and say, look, if they're going to drop the rates, we feel very strongly we're going to drop the rates this month. Someone's going to say, let's be aggressive right now. Let's just drop our rates, anticipating it. And by the time they close, it'll even itself out. And for them, it's a good bet. Maybe if someone has a hedge against it, they can. But someone's going to do it. Now, with that, the key is, all right, are you with the right lender? Are you with an aggressive lender? They can also close the loan, because if it's a teaser rate and they're promising this low rate, I would observe the fees. Are they actually giving you a discount, or are they just dropping the rate, but are they throwing it into the jungle of higher fees? because those fees could normalize that drop in the interest rate super fast. You might actually pay more in the long run if that happens. So as a consumer, what should you do? Well, I would say get at least one really good opinion. Weigh your options. If you need second, third, fourth opinions, by all means get them. Look at the low rates, look at the fees, but also look at the close rate. Are you with a company that has a solid track record of getting deals done? Those low rates don't mean a thing if they mess up your loan or don't close on time or you lose your property over it. Or you get in some sort of a refinance situation or a different situation with them and they ultimately don't deliver a month or two down the road, and by that time maybe rates have fluctuated up or down. I think when you pull the trigger, so to speak, on purchasing a home or doing a refinance, you've got an idea what your cost certainty is. Not many people are floating that rate right down to the last minute to see if they can get a better rate, because you may get closed out into a situation where you're a couple days before closing and the rates didn't move favorably from where they were. They might actually be a little higher than when you could have locked in at a lower rate, and you simply run out of days. Unless the seller is going to push back the closing because your interest rate is higher than you'd like, which, by the way, I doubt the seller is going to do that. They want their money. You're going to be stuck. So most people do lock in a rate. The daredevils out there will float the rate, and you can win or lose with that. But that's just one of the big moves coming up, and I spent a lot of time talking about interest rates and the Fed and what's going to happen now that this bill is passed and the president signs it. It's also going to get the attention of people that are thinking of moving, whether they're buying or selling. Hey, this piece of legislation, I don't have to read about it or hear about it 24/7 anymore. It's just going to happen. And whether you like it or not, and in most of our lifetimes, there's been legislation that we've liked, there's been stuff that we've disliked, some we've been neutral on. Well, at this point it doesn't matter, because it's going to happen, and it's going from maybe to a fact. We have to work around that now the best way that we can. And if someone's been thinking of moving, they've got one less piece of uncertainty right now. And if there's a thought of lower interest rates, which I'm sure there's someone else besides me going to mention it, but I'll be first, I think you'll see more inventory coming on the market. And while we have more than we had last year, how about more and different inventory? Because a lot of people have been looking for months and months, and there's more to choose from, but yet they're still having difficulty finding the exact right house. It happens in every market, regardless of inventory. Some people struggle to find the right house because we come to a point where we're so specific on what we want, it makes it nearly impossible to find the right home at the right price, or at least what we're willing to spend. So as inventory increases, I believe that buyers will jump in, and if it's right location, right condition, right price, then that's probably going to sell for most or all of the listing price and go quickly. And that will also give some energy to the market. I would also mention that some of the homes that have been lingering on the market might now take that price change, and take less than they were thinking about. Let's face it, a lot of people were looking at what I could have got for the home 2-3 years ago and believed that it was a reality they can get it today, and it's not the case. If you're pacing the market thinking it's going up 5 and 10% every year, and you're aiming higher and higher, chances are you're going to sell for the market rate, which is probably up from last year, but a lot less than a lot of these homes are listed for on the market. They were just overly optimistic, but I still believe they'll sell more this year than last year, and I think it's going to be remaining stable because the interest rates are going to pop down. There's been we're up 3% year over year. I think that's going to stay. I don't know that it's going to 4 or 5%, but I think it will continue. The difference is I believe you'll see more sales. There's been a lack of sales because of indecision and pausing and waiting, and now I think you'll see an acceleration. You'll see more sales for a little bit more consistently between now and the end of the year as rates drop and people's interests and motivations have changed overnight. It's been waiting all year long for this, really, since the elections, and here we are. I think this is a big boost for the economy. It's going to do something for inflation. I think you'll see rates come down, and I think it's going to let people know that, okay, now that we've got this figured out, we can move forward because we don't have to think about that anymore, and you'll see some changes. The market is ready for a big move, and it starts on the 4th of July. How about that? This is your host, Ron Wojciechowski, for the Black Hole of Real Estate.